Recently I had an urge to read this book again, so I did. It still is one of my favorite Batman stories ever, but this time I found myself with new things to say and a new interpretation of who the Holiday Killer is. So I thought, let's make a video about that. This is the best blending of gangsters and supervillains because it shows how Gotham as a city and as a character within the story was already heading towards this horrific evolution, creating flashy characters for both sides of the law. Batman, Harvey, Joker, Riddler, Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, and so on are just examples of characters operating in Gotham with a new way of doing things. All of them had traumatic experiences that dictate the way they act, and so Gotham has a new cast for the play of good versus evil, black versus white, brilliantly expressed by Tim Sale in the artistic atmosphere of the book and the noir feel to it. Now, this is not only about the end of the gangster era in Gotham, but also about the beginning of Batman's escalation towards becoming more than just a man, becoming an idea. Because by taking down the mob, he opens the road for the supervillains to take over and all the insanity that comes with them. From now on, he'll have to keep getting more and more efficient. Which brings me to my next point. Although Batman is not at his best at being a detective here, in my opinion, this book is still one of the greatest detective stories for us readers, filled with clues both in the writing and in the artwork for us to figure out who the Holiday Killer is, and the best part is that it requires several readings because just when you think you had it all figured out, you read it again and change your mind. That happened to me again this time. And as you may know, I made a video talking about all the reasons I thought Alberto Falcone was the Holiday Killer. If you want, you can check it out, I'll put it in the description. But the funny thing is, I think I'm going in circles because this time I read it, I went back to my original thought about that. So it's like, it's a multiple choice, and that's what I like about it. The book, it's open for interpretation, so you see what you want to see every time you read it. The thing is, this time I had another interpretation. Reading it this time, I got several clear references that point to Harvey and Gilda being the two Holiday Killers. And I'm not talking about Gilda's confession at the end of the book. That one's just too obvious and kind of makes you think she's crazy. No. I'm talking about the fact that when we first see Holiday's hands preparing the gun, it is in some kind of garage. And the very next scene is Harvey in his basement and the tools he's got in front of him are arranged in the same way. The fact that Harvey had wet hair the night that Alberto was attacked. These two and many other facts obviously point at Harvey being the Holiday Killer. And the whole thing with the calendar man saying she's making this for him and all that. Yet there is one thing that stands out for me. In the artwork you can see that in some of the murders the victims are surprised and in some they are not, suggesting that they know the killer. Therefore Alberto comes right back to the picture. So my conclusion this time was that Alberto made the first killing, some of the middle ones where you see the victims are not afraid, and obviously Maroni. All of this looking for the attention of his father and kinda taking advantage that there was someone out there that was killing people on the holidays, the true Holiday Killer, or killers. The rest of the murders were divided in half. The first half was Gilda and the second was Harvey, explaining how he knew there were two Holiday Killers and the obsession for the .22 caliber handgun. This book was inspired by films like The Godfather, Scarface, and The Public Enemies. And funny enough, it inspired movies like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. And I think that speaks volumes of the quality you'll find here. So in conclusion, I would like to paraphrase Captain Nolan in his review for The Dark Knight and say that it applies for this book. What do you believe in? And if faced with the destruction of that belief, would you still believe in it? So, thanks for watching guys, and see you next time.